Go inside the Crimson Tide with your hosts Rodney Orr and Gary Harris, keeping you informed on everything Alabama. Tider Insider TV, brought to you by Visit Tuscaloosa.
March Madness is here in Alabama. The men and the women are dancing. Good evening, everybody, and welcome into the latest edition of Tider Insider TV, presented by Visit Tuscaloosa. Go to visittuscaloosa.com. Alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com, I'm WVOA 23 Sports Director Gary Harris. As I just said, both Alabama basketball teams are top 5 seeds in their respective tournaments. The women are a 5 seed in the Birmingham 2 Regional. They're headed to College Park, Maryland to take on the Green Bay Phoenix on Saturday. But we're going to start with the men. A 2 seed in the East going to Cleveland to play Robert Morris on Friday. I've had people tell me they spent a month in Cleveland one day. But I bet Alabama's excited to be going there. I can tell you that right now. They're going to play Robert Morris, as I said. Crimson Tide, a 2 seed. They are going to be a huge favorite in this game. If they win on Sunday, they'll play either St. Mary's or Vanderbilt. That's going to be a tougher game. But Alabama has 25 wins, 11 quad 1 victories. They were ranked as high as number 1 in the polls this season. For Robert Morris, they enter the tournament 26-8 with a 10-game winning streak, regular season and tournament champions of the Horizon. They're led by Conference Player of the Year forward Alvaro Flagares, who is averaging 14-9. But Cam Woods, right? You might remember this guy. At midfield and then at Pinson Valley, was an awesome athlete, state champion. His running mate at Pinson Valley in basketball was Kool-Aid McKinstry. Yeah. And he's on his 5th team. This is the portal era. This is his 5th team. NC State last year, Final Four, 15 points, 5 assists, 4.6 rebounds, and 1.7 steals. As we said, the winner gets the 7-10 game, Vanderbilt and St. Mary's. Alabama looking to follow up the program's first trip to the Final Four last season with another Final Four appearance. Alabama's number 1 seed, if they get to that far to the Elite 8, is Duke in this region. So certainly that'll be tough, but you take them one at a time. All right, Rod, let me get you in here. First things first, Grant Nelson's health obviously was an issue. He hurt his knee against Florida about 4 minutes ago in the first half. He did not return in that game, but Coach Oats said yesterday that he's going to play in Cleveland. It's just a question of will he play Friday in that game 1, or will he play Sunday if the Tide wins? So that's good news. At the same time, you'd still rather him be 100%.
Yeah, you would. I mean, you know, it's an unfortunate thing, but at the same time, it is fortunate that it wasn't more serious. They escaped there, I think, obviously. But the good news is he's going to play. Again, like you said, it might not be Friday, it might be Sunday, but he's going to be back on the court, and that's going to be big for Alabama because they're going to need him. They're going to need all their guns.
The SEC tournament was a mixed bag. Alabama blew out Kentucky, gave Kentucky its worst loss ever in the SEC tournament on Friday night in the quarterfinals. Then the next day in the semifinals, got blown out by Florida in the second half. Of course, no Grant Nelson in the second half. That did make a difference. But what's your vibe just on, you know, this team? Last year, of course, they got blown out by Florida in the SEC tournament too in their first game and went to the Final Four. How are you feeling about this team going in?
Well, I tell you what, Gary, it's very similar to last year. The way the finish wasn't really strong. I know that a lot of people were down. I know a lot of Alabama fans were down as they went into the tournament. But they had a really good draw. I thought initially when I looked at the bracket they were in, I said, this is a good draw for Alabama. And you saw what happened. They made the most of it. Now, look, they played a good Clemson team, good North Carolina team, and they won those games. I look at this, and I say the same thing as last year. Kind of similar, going in, a little down, but at the same time, I think they've got a good bracket. I think, look, if Alabama plays like they should play, we're probably looking at an Elite 8.
Well, you know what else is similar to last year? Is Jaron Stevenson played his best basketball down the stretch in the postseason. Yeah. Grant Nelson, too. Grant Nelson was playing great until he got hurt. Jaron Stevenson stepped up in the SEC tournament and looked like the guy they needed. Now, Mark Sears, first-team All-American by the Associated Press today, he struggled to shoot it lately. And Cliff Amore, I'm telling you, Cliff Amore, when he plays well, Alabama's so much better. You know, when he's getting double-digit rebounds and double-digit points, they're a different team. But when he struggles, it really hurts the feel of this team offensively, because as much as they shoot the three, they still need some points at the basket. How big is Cliff Amore in this tournament?
Obviously he's really big. I mean, you know, what he can do. But you mentioned Sears, Gary. I think he's 4 of his last 26 from three. I mean, he's struggling. But here's the thing. when you're a shooter, it's a numbers game. You keep shooting. You look at where he is right now, what that really tells me is he's numbers-wise, he's going to get on a roll.
Like I said, AP first-team All-American. Here's what's amazing, Rodney. All the great players that have come through here. And there have been some second-team All-Americans, AP, and there's been some other first-team All-Americans through other naming services. But AP All-Americans, there's been 2 first-teamers in Alabama history. Nate Oats has coached them both. Brandon Miller and Mark Sears. How about that?
It's amazing.
All right, let's get to Coach Talk. Alabama head coach Nate Oats understands there will be some adversity in this tournament. That's just the way it is. But he wants to know how his team will respond and adjust coming off that Florida game in which certainly they didn't play their best. But now's the reset button, and whether things are going good or bad in an NCAA tournament game, you have to fight through.
Things aren't going our way. Are we tough enough mentally to stay with what we said we were going to do, even when we face a little adversity? And that maybe was where my biggest disappointment was. So just talk to him a little bit about, are we going to be who we said we were going to be a week or 2 ago or not? Or are we only going to do it when things are going well? And I kind of asked them, like, what would you call somebody that only, and they gave me the correct answer, call them a front runner. Nobody wants to be a front runner in life, for sure, as a competitor in basketball.
All right, Ronnie, let's talk about the matchups. You've already said last year you thought it worked out well for Alabama, although they had some trouble with, Grand Canyon, but they got through all the way to the Final Four. I like their draw this year. I mean, obviously they should beat Robert Morris. No disrespect to Robert Morris. They're conference champion, but they should win that one. Then on Sunday in the 7-10, now don't get me wrong, St. Mary's is tough, hard-nosed, physical, defensive team. Vanderbilt from the SEC, Alabama's already beaten them. But I see that if Alabama doesn't have to be great, just good, I see them getting out of this first weekend to the Sweet 16 without a lot of trouble.
Yeah, no, I do too. I'm with you on that. I think, don't want to really look beyond this weekend. I said Elite Eight, but, you're right. I mean, they're 22.5-point favorites right now in this first game. I mean, obviously, we've seen, though, look, I say that, we kind of giggle. It wouldn't be very funny if you go out there in the first round and lose that game. So, yeah, they have to be focused. And then, obviously, St. Mary's, Vanderbilt, those are going to be some tough teams. But, again, like I said, I think if Alabama plays Alabama basketball, they're in good shape.
That's right. All right, let's get to the women. Alabama was hoping, of course, to get a 4 seed this year, to have a chance to host first and second round games in Tuscaloosa. It didn't happen. I think that loss to Florida in the SEC tournament kind of hurt their chances. But they get a 5 seed in the Birmingham 2 regional. So the good news is if they win 2 games, they're coming to Birmingham to play in front of Sarah Ashley Barker's hometown fans and family where she starred at Spain Park High School. They're going to play the 12 seed Green Bay Phoenix on Saturday at 12:30 Central Time. Now listen, Green Bay's a good team. They're a really good team. If Alabama wins that one, they would more than likely get Maryland on Monday to get to the Sweet 16. I would rather than be playing at home, Rod, but just like the men, I see a path here for Alabama to get to the Sweet 16 if they play Alabama basketball.
Yeah, they do. Again, ifs and buts, you know how that works. And this is the NCAA tournament, but they've got a great opportunity here, Gary, to make a little bit of a run in this NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Maryland's playing Norfolk State, so you have to believe Maryland at home will win that one. But Bama's got to take care of business against Green Bay, which is 29-5. They're on a 22-game winning streak, so they know how to win. Like Alabama, they like to spread the floor and shoot the 3. I think it'll be a very competitive game, but I think Alabama playing in the SEC, we hear it all the time. The SEC toughens you up and gets you ready for postseason. I'm looking for Alabama women to advance. And I'm looking for them to beat Maryland, too. But we will see what happens this weekend. All right, Alabama football returned to the practice field for the first full-time session since spring break. Crimson Tide actually had 10 days off between practices. They worked out in shells for 2 hours this morning outdoors on the Thomas Drew practice field. Tide will continue practicing all the way up until the 8A game or some form of an 8A game on April the 12th. Mission is going to be free to all fans on the 12th. But, Rodney, real quickly, just your thoughts as they come back from spring break. What are you looking for the rest of spring ball?
You know what? Look, I think what we saw in the first 3 days, the practices before spring, Gary, a lot of good things, vibes, a lot of young players getting reps. I think right now this is a team that you want to continue to watch and see how these I know everyone wants to talk about the quarterbacks, but see how this kind of develops in these first couple of scrimmages that they're going to have over the next few weeks. I think they're going to be really telling. In
about 45 seconds, Rodney, we're going to talk a lot more about this next week, but a lot of recruiting going on right now. A lot of players in town, prospects.
There is. It's early, but the spring is an opportunity, Gary, to not only build for this season, but build for the future. Bring in guys on unofficial visits. A lot of them are coming in. Obviously, coming up this next weekend, they're going to have several top players. They've had some before the break. They had several that came in. So they're kind of laying the foundation for all those summer visits that are going to come up in June. And right now, they only have 3 commitments. Alabama fans saying, hey, what's going on? Look, that's going to change dramatically. The key right now is get the right guys in and kind of lay that foundation.
Always working. The old saying, recruiting's like shaving. You miss a day, you look sloppy. All right, still to come on Tighter Insider Television. Gymnastics head coach Ashley Johnston will join us here in studio ahead of the SEC Championships this weekend over in Birmingham. Stay tuned to hear what Coach has to say. And in just a little bit, we're also going to be taking your phone calls. The Gymnastics, though, they're geared up. It's been a roller coaster ride in the regular season, but now it's postseason time and Alabama's ready to go. And as I said, we'll be getting your phone calls, emails as well. 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Going to get to those phone calls in just a little bit. We'll be right back with a show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, Tighter Insider TV. And welcome back to Tighter Insider Television, presented by Visit Tuscaloosa. This is not Rodney Orr. This is Ashley Johnston, Alabama head gymnastics coach, join us here in studio to talk about the upcoming SEC Championships. They'll be on Saturday in Birmingham. The number 8 seeded Crimson Tide will compete in session 1 at 2:30 alongside number 5 Kentucky, number 6 Georgia, and number 7 Auburn. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here.
I know we're going to look ahead to these SEC Championships and how important they are for Alabama gymnastics, but last Saturday night, you closed out the regular season all the way up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, in a podium meet, and scored. I mean, you could have scored better. There were a couple points there, that
it
you
was
could have.
some tight judging for sure.
But you got the win,
it.
and you got a lot of momentum heading into
did.
SECs.
We did. It was a great confidence builder for us, and I think that's been the name of the game, really. I think this team really needed to believe in what they were capable of, and so I'm excited to see them put up a great performance, really build some strong momentum, and this is the time where Alabama peaks.
That's right.
Year after year, we've been known for that, and so we're just on time.
Yeah.
And we weren't early, that's for sure,
right.
but we're on time, and so we're peaking and in a really good spot.
Yeah, it has been a roller coaster ride. There's no doubt about it. There's been injuries. There's been missed opportunities. There's been adjustments in a growing period. But this is go time, like you said, for Alabama Gymnastics. This is what Alabama Gymnastics is built on. And you go over there this week to Birmingham, it's a whole new season. And everybody's starting out the same with their first routine with a chance to go, 197 or better and advance.
Yep. And that's been the theme of our year. We've had a 0-0 mentality. And I think that's what has been the strength of this team is that every single weekend, whether it was a win, a loss, a learning opportunity, whatever it was, this team has been able to reset, be resilient, and just move forward and focus on what's in front of them. And that's where we're at right now. We have all the goals that we want to accomplish right in front of us. And so we've just got to take it moment by moment and give it our best shot.
All right, explain to our viewers what you need to get done at SEC to qualify for NCAA regionals.
So there's actually no exact score that we have to get to qualify on the regionals. We're in a really good spot. We just need to go have a good night, an average night. And I'm not saying that we need to be average. We need to be our average, which means that we have trained at such a high level that we just need to be normal, not put too much on a moment, but just go out there and focus on one moment at a time, continuing to just stack bricks to create a really good performance. From that point, teams will be seated and allotted their spot in the regional championship, which we host, and that's incredibly exciting to have essentially a home meet at SECs and a home meet at regionals. What an incredible opportunity it is for our squad to be able to make a great postseason run. And at regional championships, it is survive in advance. So you got to be in the top 2 from your session to qualify on to the next session. So that's what we're going to be looking to do at regionals. And from that qualifies you on to the national championship Elite 8, which takes place in Fort Worth, Texas.
And a chance to win it all. All right, it's been a long season. There have been some injuries. Right now, as you head into SECs, what's it look like roster-wise? Where are you at health-wise?
We're actually in one of the best spots we've been all year, to be honest. I think after that initial wave of sickness, injuries, a lot of unexpected adversity that hit us, it took a while for us to recover our depth. And so for gymnastics, I mean, really for every sport, but 6 people compete on each event, but you really want 8 to 10 people that are pushing lineup spots, that are helping make each person better, that are in those starting positions. And so we're at that place now. We're about 8 deep on every event, all capable of a 9-9 plus score, and that's really what it takes to win a championship.
Lastly, and as you said, you're going to host regionals. That's something to look forward to. But Alabama Gymnastics is about winning championships. And you got a chance Saturday to win an SEC championship. How important is that, and how big would that be for the program?
You know, it's really important to us to make a statement on Saturday. We've had our fair share of adversity, but the road to success is not a straight line up. It never is. I mean, I heard Coach Oats say it earlier. It's all about how you respond, and that's what it is for our team, too. It's how we respond. It's how we make a statement. It's how we show the world that Alabama Gymnastics is an incredibly strong squad. Team 51 is talented. They're capable. They've got to go out there and just focus on the things that they can control, and they can create a really incredible outcome.
And as we get ready to go to the break, I know you want to take advantage of being up the road in Birmingham and have that crimson and white fill that arena on Saturday afternoon.
We do. It's a huge advantage, and it's a 2:30 meet. It's the perfect time on a Saturday afternoon to get out there, watch the squad, support this group. It's not only going to be a great experience, but it helps us be able to host it again in the future. And so the more people that show up, that we can prove Birmingham can host a championship, can pack out that arena, it allows us the opportunity to do that again. So come on out, be loud, wear your crimson and white, your houndstooth, your pink, because we're Power of Pink too, and cheer on this Alabama Gymnastics squad.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Roll
All
Tide.
right, when we come back, Alabama baseball began SEC play in College Station. They got the brooms out against the Aggies. Plus, we're going to get to your phone calls, emails, and tweets, and I'm told right now phone lines are open, so go ahead and give us a call right now, 205-348-9882. We want to hear from you, Tider Insider Nation. We'll be right back on TITV after this. Now, many of you Tider Insider fans know that Rodney grew up in Corpus Christi, Texas. Originally from Mobile, but grew up in Corpus Christi, and he got a dose of Longhorns and Aggies his whole life as an Alabama fan out there. So he enjoys it when the Tide wreaks havoc in Aggie land, and they went out there and opened the SEC schedule with a sweep, Rodney. 3 straight wins over the Aggies, who were preseason #1. This Alabama baseball team now 20-1. They're playing South Alabama right now. They're up 1-0 in the third. Of course, Tennessee comes in here. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But this Alabama baseball team looks like they're for real.
They really do. I mean, to be able to go out there, look, I know A&M's struggling right now. They hadn't started as well as they expected to, but to go there and sweep, look, I know the Aggies aren't happy.
And Alabama's up to number 10 in one poll. I think they're right around 12th or 13th in the others. Tennessee's number 1. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the Vols, who, as I said, are 20-0. I don't know if we've ever had a series here in the SEC where we've had 1 loss total.
You notice what color I'm wearing.
You're wearing maroon, aren't you? That's kind of a backhanded slap at the Aggies.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sweep, man.
But this series Thursday, Rodney, is going to be something else. Tennessee's the defending national champion. They won the College World Series last year. They're 20-0. They're playing East Tennessee State tonight. Alabama's playing South Alabama. If both of them win, like I said, you will have 1 loss combined in that 3-game series. Remarkable.
It's amazing. Well, like you said, I think, they took 2 or 3 last year, coming back to Tuscaloosa. So this is a real measuring stick.
Yeah, it is. All right, no phone calls right now, so we're going to go ahead and get to our email question of the day. Brought to you by KDM Service Corporation, serving your family like our family. Get the KDM Service Corporation for all your heating and air conditioning needs. Who has your favorite Alabama buzzer beater? Sexton versus Texas A&M 2018, Rutherford versus Georgia in 2013, or Sears versus Auburn in 2025? That's from Torrey. And there are others, too. But, Rodney, I'm going to go with Sexton, and I'll tell you why. Obviously beating Auburn for Sears, but this was Avery Johnson. Colin Sexton was a freshman. If Alabama loses that game to A&M, they're done. That allowed them to get into the NCAA tournament. The only time they went under Avery Johnson, and they were beaten. And he just takes the ball and just goes all the way.
Yeah,
so out of those 3, I'm going to go with Sexton. What about you?
Yeah, no, I would go with that again. We're talking Texas A&M, but yeah, I mean, obviously, I remember watching. I was sitting on the beach, Gary, watching that when he drove down and laid it in.
And that's got, Alabama was done if they lose that game. So, and even though Avery Johnson didn't make it, a little tournament momentum kind of set the stage for when Nate Oats got here now, Final Four. All right, listen, phone lines are open. 205-348-9882. TITV Nation, let's hear from you. We're going to come back with some more phone, I say more phone calls, a phone call. If not, we've got some more emails ready to go, and we'll get to those as well. 205-348-WVUA. Give us a call. Alabama in the NFL free agency update now, which means big money. pair of former Tide stars are teaming up with the Vikings. Defensive lineman Jonathan Allen and center Ryan Kelly both signed with Minnesota last week. Allen and the Vikings, 3-year, $60 million contract. He spent his first 8 seasons with the Washington Commanders, and before that they were the Washington Redskins. Kelly gets a 2-year deal worth $18 million after he spent his first 9 NFL seasons with the Indianapolis Colts, and both players are multi-Pro Bowl selections in their rapport and their repertoire, I guess, as a player. Now they're going to try to get to more Pro Bowls. What am I saying? All right, phone lines are still open. I don't know what to make of this. 205-348-9882, but we do have an email, Rodney, to get to, and this is from Jim out in Sparks, Nevada. Why do you think the Alabama softball team is committing so many errors? I guarantee you, Jim, Patrick Murphy wants to know that answer. To give you an idea of how bad it's been, Jocelyn Brisky, you see right there, Rodney, she's given up 31 runs. 15 of them are unearned, nearly half the runs. Alabama's had games where they've had multiple errors, including 3 in that Mississippi State rubber match on Sunday that had lost 4-3. Mercer, they're going back to basics. They've got to clean that up. They're hitting the ball well. Their pitching's been okay. Just too many mistakes.
You said basics. I mean, we talked about it on your radio show yesterday. I mean, the fundamentals, Patrick Murphy, the way this program is built, has been on fundamentals, been fundamentally sound. Sometimes you just think, does it get between the ears?
Yeah, but I still think this is a talented team. I still think they got a chance to have a really good season, but you got to get better defensively. They host Florida State tomorrow night. That won't be an easy game. All right, one more email, I'm told, Rodney, before we head to the break. Oh, we're going to go ahead and go to break right now. Thanks for the emails. We're going to come back and wrap up this edition of Tider Insider TV from beautiful Titletown right after this. And thank you for tuning in to this edition of Tider Insider TV presented by Visit Tuscaloosa. Don't forget, if you missed any of tonight's show, you can catch the replay tonight at 10:30 following the news at 10 or online anytime at WVUA23.com. We're going to leave you tonight with some spring game video. The University of West Alabama Tigers. Look at Scott Cochran. He's still hollering. Scott Cochran's the head coach at UWA. This was last Friday. Bo Scarborough, O.J. Howard, Thomas Fletcher, Blake Sims, Ronnie Clark, Damian Square, all former Alabama players on his staff. Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night.